and I'm going to tell you the story of David. So, I'm going to begin. David was a teenager, or a preteen, probably, in this time. He wasn't King David, as most of you probably know him as. He is just a regular child, just like we are. He was a shepherd, though, a shepherd boy. And so back then there were no shepherd dogs or guns or guns. All they used was a shepherd's staff and a sword. Or as David used, probably a slingshot. Although there was a mean lion once that came and was prowling around his sheep, which as Hank is doing now. And so then David spotted the lion and killed the lion with his bare hands and his shepherd's staff. And then one day there was a bear that attacked. And David didn't know it then, although God was helping him to be brave and for a future battle, which was against Goliath, which will be in a later story. So God sent the bear, and he did the same way as the bear with the lion. Killed it with his bare hands and his shepherd's staff. And one day, his father came to him, and his father said that there was a prophet, which is also related to a preacher or a minister, as we know, or a traveling evangelist. Thank you, Paul. But back to the point. His name was Samuel. Samuel was mentioned before in the Bible, and he is very important in this story because he anointed David king. Of course, after looking at all of David's older brothers. Now, if there were any girls, who knows, in Jesse's family, all we know is that there were boys. But David was anointed king, and his father said that his other brothers were going to be anointed, but they weren't because Samuel is sent by God. And so one day his brothers went to a war that King Saul requested for them. And so David, one day, it was in a way he was worried about his brothers. And so was his father. And so David went straight to where his brothers were. So while David was going to his brothers, he probably was looking around, admiring the beauty of life. While he was walking, and he heard a booming voice. He's from where his brothers were. So he ran quickly and fast. And there he saw all of the Israelites hiding in their tents. And his brothers were hiding in their tents. And he ran right in with the donkey that was carrying their meals and all of that. And David, it said, "How are you doing, brothers?" probably. And said, "I brought you food that Father wanted me to send." Who was that loud booming voice? He said it heard. And then he heard it again. "Which one of you Israelites will fight me today? Huh?" And his brothers said, "His name's Goliath. He's scary and he's a monster. He's 9 feet tall." Now, if you're smart, which some of you are, that would round up to about 3 yardsticks. So oh, you can imagine how tall he was. But David was like, has anyone challenged this crazy Philistine? And this Philistine needs to be shown who's boss. He was probably mad and embarrassed about his brothers. So he went to where King Saul was and said, King Saul, I demand for me to fight this crazy Philistine. I heard he's 9 feet tall, but who cares? If he's 20 feet tall or any higher, I don't care. I fight him because he's threatening the people of God. Well, Saul probably was like, well, you're just a lad. All you can do is just hit him with wood and stick and break it, and he'd smash you in a second. But David was like, who cares? I'm going to fight for the people of Israel. And Saul didn't have much of a choice. So he said, let me tell you what, I'll give you an offer. If you defeat this Philistine, I'll give you my daughter in return. So David defeated the Philistine, but before he did, he went to a riverbed and got 5 smooth stones. And he put one in his sling that he got, and he took his shepherd's staff down, and he was short and small, but it didn't matter because he knew God would protect him. He grabbed his sling, slung it around and around and around, and threw it straight right here. Goliath fell straight down, and kaboom! Straight down like this. David stood on his chest, grabbed his sword, and cut his head off, just like that. And then he grabbed the head, climbed up the mountain, and handed it straight to King Saul. And then he is given in the honor of living in King Saul's house. Although, that's where I'm going to stop. But here's what I got out of this wonderful story time, that no matter how small you are or whatever you are, if you have faith in the Lord, which I do, but do you? You should, because He's the only one who can give you everlasting life. Isn't that right, Hank? Bye, guys. Have a good day.